Hello.
Hello, good evening. Hi.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well, thank you. And I like the book behind you.
Yes. I got my whole collection here.
I see. Oh, I see two of them. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Could you introduce yourself to the Dutch Banters?
Sure. My name is Professor Tim Noakes, and I'm a retired South African medical doctor and exercise scientist who spent most of his life promoting the idea that you should eat a lot of carbohydrates.
Hmm.
And I did lots of running. I promoted running. And as a consequence, I developed type 2 diabetes myself, and then realized I had to find a way to save my own life, and fortunately found it by chance in the low carbohydrate diet. So for the last
Yeah.
7 years, I've been eating the low carbohydrate diet. And I wrote some of the books that are behind you, The Real Meal Revolution and The
Yeah.
Banting Solution,
Yeah.
and also children's book. And it's been really exciting. I've also been involved in this 3 or 4 year court case against me brought by my profession for promoting this diet.
Yeah.
And it comes to an end tomorrow, believe it or not. The final
Okay.
judgment is going to be given tomorrow.
Oh, exciting.
We won the first case, the first hearing, which went for 25 days.
Mm-hmm.
And we won that 10-0. We won 10 decisions to
Yeah.
naught against. And the organization that set up the trial didn't like the outcome, so they appealed their own decision of their own committee.
Yeah.
And in February, we had 3 days we met, and they promised us the ruling by the end of March. Well, it looks like we're going to get it tomorrow. So we're very hopeful that this is finally the end of this nonsense.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Well, could you tell us why it would be a good idea for people to start banting?
Well, I think it's a really good idea because most of us are insulin resistant, in which case we don't do well when we eat too many carbohydrates. And I know the Dutch eat quite a lot of carbohydrates, but they also eat lots
Yep.
of good fats and good protein. So that kind of balances it up, perhaps. And maybe most of the Dutch are not insulin resistant. But if you go to North America or South Africa, the majority of people are insulin resistant, and we find it very difficult to metabolize carbohydrate. We
Yes.
secrete insulin every time we eat the carbohydrate, and that insulin then makes us more insulin resistant, and the insulin damages our bodies, causing
Yes.
us to have a range of diseases from obesity to hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and dementia. They're all linked to this insulin resistance problem.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to tell people is you don't have to get those conditions if you eat a low carbohydrate diet. And so that's the key. Find
Yeah.
out if you have insulin resistance. And if you do have insulin resistance, then the solution for you is to eat a low carbohydrate diet.
Yeah. Okay. And to which people in particular would banting be beneficial?
So it's those people who are already overweight, obese, diabetic, or have other conditions, even dementias. There's some evidence that it can help a little bit there. Not much, but help a little bit. So it's the people who are on the extreme with insulin resistance, like myself with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
We have to eat a low carbohydrate diet or the disease just gets worse. And every carbohydrate meal we eat makes it worse. So
Yeah.
we have to stop it. And the good news for me is that I've been doing it for 7 years, and I finally reversed my diabetes. I'm now clear of type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
It took 7 years, and that's, most clinical trials last a year or two, and they get great results. So there's the Verta Health study showing 60% reduction in 1 year. So what I showed was that if you stick with this diet for 7 years, you might be able to reverse your diabetes, which is different from what people believe, because we think, well, if it's not going to happen in a year, it's not going to happen. And I really religiously stuck with my diet for 7 years, and I just can't believe it. I've just measured my glucose now. It's 7 o'clock in the evening. It's 5.0.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
glucose hasn't been above 5 today, and that's just unheard of in type 2 diabetes.
Yes. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah.
It really is. It's
Yes.
amazing because my dad died of the disease, and so I had a choice, am I going to go the same way as him, or am I going to be different? And
Yeah.
I'm really excited that this has happened.
Well, it's actually already answered my next question, because I was going to ask you, is banting the latest dieting hype? or is it here to stay?
Oh, it's definitely here to stay.
Yeah,
The only
yeah,
problem is that the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry don't want us to promote it because they need sick people to sell their products to. And I mean, that
yeah,
sounds awful. It sounds awful, but that's the business. And people talk about a conspiracy theory. And when we presented it in the trial that sugar is behind most of these problems, and the sugar industry knows about it, then the prosecution just said that's a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is business. The sugar
yeah,
industry has to keep sugar selling. The cola industry has to keep selling their products. The junk food industry has to sell their foods, or else people go out of business. They're not going to
yeah,
give out lightly. And what we've started is a revolution from the ground upwards, and that's the only way it's going to go in the future. We have to educate the people. So this is a true revolution of the people. And
yes.
they have to learn that this diet works, whereas the other stuff we do in medicine doesn't work. And once you learn that, then you're fine.
Well, I'll do my best to achieve that in the Netherlands, to spread the
Well,
word.
yes.
So thank you so much for this talk. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, and I hope to talk to you again sometime.
Thanks, Luzette. Bye-bye.